Texas, northeastern Cochran County in northwestern Texas, northwestern Hockley County in northwestern Texas, southwestern Lamb County in northwestern Texas.
Alright, folks, you're going to have to bear with me here 2 seconds. I am here. I am trying to cover this, but I am also a little frazzled, so bear with me. Having fun with Texas doing its stuff in a 2%. Yeah, well, this storm's just kind of insane. And it's still blowing up along this boundary here. And in fact, the rotation has gotten significantly better over the past 2 scans. So it has completed its handoff. And more storms are just forming and feeding into it, which is pretty insane to think about. My phone needs to shut up. Hello, Sarah. Maureen, what do you think? I'm kind of surprised. I'm fairly perplexed as well. But really, mesoanalysis says the whole story. 65 knots of eastbound shear and 180 helicity storms are going to go cyclic in an area like West Texas. It's going to happen. Rainbow threw up all over the radar. I know, right? Yeah, in fact, actually just had a scan of 75 dBz near the Anoaks area. So. Must be reproducing by ZDR, not to mention this is the second PDS of the day. Did we have one earlier in the Carolinas, or is that something else? I may be thinking of something else. I am going to get up the watches here, so I can get the scroll text correct. So chat, just bear with me a couple seconds here. I am going to get this looping. This is just insane. This is really insane. Oh, velocities have died. There it is. So, yeah, they've de-aliased. This is probably a significant storm. You can also see the hook that's outlined here. I need to get my pen tool up too. I am not prepared. Epic thing. No signs of a debris signature as of yet. There is no sign of it as of yet. It's going to be really hard to tell because the storm is so crudded over. So it's going to be very hard to tell whether or not the storm is actually producing a tornado. It's going to be very difficult to tell. On the off chance, though, right now, this stuff down here by Morton, the precipitation down there may be inhibiting this a fair amount. Because what this reminded me of? Yeah, why not? Is this even going anywhere populated? Well, it's heading north of Lubbock. And Littlefield is actually fairly populous. So it's heading south of that. And there's a couple small towns in between just this area of 385 there. So that's also something to bear in mind. I am going to get my scroll text up here. So, like I said, bear with me really quickly. Severe watch. This is 265. like how the main watch says a tornado or two possible. That went well. And obviously nothing on the SPC because how are they going to know? You know? This is something that's fairly difficult to predict. And I don't think any models really even depicted this well. It's something very difficult to predict. Oh, gosh. Crap. I'm not formatting this correctly. I... Okay. Formatted correctly, save as. There may be a typo or two. Do that. Come here, we'll do this, and there it goes. Arena based off track and velocity, but drop them from merging intensity wise. Yeah, I can understand why you'd see that, maybe. Could definitely understand that. So spectrum width does seem to show that it's really just getting its act together better across the entire meso. So that's something to note. Echo tops may be decreasing a little bit, though. And the fact that it's moving may also be inhibiting this from developing further, strangely enough. So you also have to bear that in mind. Let's switch back to one panel here. So earlier on in this, you guys could see the supercell that we were dealing with here. So you can see the hook really outlined by this. All the reflectivity coming around on this storm. And the hook being outlined really in here. So the higher density of reflectivity, the higher reflectivity values being shown really where the mesocyclone was. And if we take a look, that's right where that's right in the center of where this is all occurring. So that's something to note. Additionally, if you guys really happen to reside anywhere west of 385, I would advise trying to watch out and taking your proper precautions underground or lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet, because this is a storm that has very high leverage on really high leverage on any situation, and it could go from 0 to 100 in a second. Issue high risk for any Texas event. No, yeah, that's not legit. Found a beautiful Texas tornado earlier west of Lubbock. If we're talking about this, then yes, and that's why I'm streaming. I'm just trying to make sure everything's going correctly here. I'm in here. My Twitter is going bonkers because I wrote a comment that... Okay. So, let's just take a look at what we have on satellite here, and this is my thumbnail, wink wink. Just taking a look at this supercell that is producing all of this activity. Look at the center of it. You've got really high tops, really cold temperatures going on up there at the top of the storm. And if we go back a couple of frames, you guys can see how it's just continuing to evolve. So if I scroll back here, to the point in which it was just a couple of supercells. Look at how it's formed and merged over time. May even be getting stronger still. So that's definitely something that needs to be taken into account. We still do have a 2% in effect for this area. 2% tornado risk in effect, and then we still do have also that 5% for the portion of the Carolinas and south and northeastern Georgia, including the Augusta area. So, a whole lot of stuff going on here. A whole lot of stuff that needs to be borne in mind. New meso discussion. That's not new. Tornado potential likely persists through 1Z across the border. Yeah, I haven't seen much. Law enforcement reports another tornado. Did they really? That's a while ago. Maybe the meso is trying to hand off again. Echo tops are once again above 50,000 feet. So there you go on that. This meso seems like it's struggling to gain traction again. It's weakening again, and it may be because of this. So if this can get really taken into the inflow notch itself, I think we may be able to see this reproduce. But we also do have a lot of stuff going on up here to the north as well, with some of these cells that are firing off just to the southwest of Amarillo. So, one thing that has to be borne in mind is the fact that this is definitely still capable of producing. This is definitely still capable of producing down the line. This will likely produce at some point in the future again. This also will probably have the chance to produce some very large hailstones as well. So we already could be seeing it's maybe producing hail upwards of 2 inches, upwards of egg size. So it's definitely possible that that is the case. For these areas north of Morton, and Morton is not small. Morton's not a shabby town. So we're going to have to bear that in mind throughout this evening. Brief tornado, okay. Hey. Let's see if there's chasers on this thing. Yeah, there's chasers on this thing. Alright, excellent. So we're going to know if it is wet again or not, because there's basically yeah, it's just basically everyone surrounding this thing. So the velocity may be picking up again. A lot of hail going on in the core of the storm. A lot of hail going on north of Morton. That's one thing that we can really just identify using correlation coefficients. So you guys see these blues that indicate really the lower values coming out this way here. If we layer that with the reflexivity that we have going on right now, you can see that the higher precipitation values, those are probably hailstones, because CC picks up particular matter in the air that isn't rain. So this is picking up something that is not rain, something that is solid matter, which is most likely hailstones, falling north of Morton. So that's another threat that we have going on with this. That's probably a little bit more soft-spoken compared to the other threats that are kind of going on with this storm. Excuse me. My phone's not working. This is lovely. Okay, there we go. So it looks like the meso is forming again, maybe a little bit of a BUR, bounded weak ecoregion. So here's the core of the storm. Here's where the inflow region probably is, and here's a little area of lower precipitation. Here's an area of lower precipitation values just inside here, probably where the circulation is most present. And if we take a look at this, that would be where the mesocyclone is. So that indicates what is likely to be the supercell itself, the lowering itself, probably a wall cloud, maybe even a funnel cloud, going on with this storm. Now, new frame, it does still look like it's got that same kind of motion. So it's hard to say as of now. Velocities have died once again. The mid-levels on this thing are okay. Mid-levels on this thing are probably good enough to produce again. It's just a matter of if that surface gets together because of all the precipitation that's forming and moving into the storm. However, this, if it merges with the storm, does look like that's probably it. Unless this outflow boundary produces more storms south of Morton. So, regardless, whether or not that is the case, there are likely 3-inch size hailstones falling with this. So close to softball size hail that is probably falling for areas north of Morton, which can easily break windshields, damage cars, damage roofs, damage windows, damage house windows for that matter too. So it's very important that you guys are heeding the words of the SPC if you guys know anyone in this area, and taking your proper precautions, getting into a sturdy shelter when instructed to do so. So, folks, we gotta continue to spread this information with as many people as possible to make sure that we're getting this information out to the people that need it, possibly that don't really know of the situation going on here, because this is a fairly localized threat, right? It's one supercell, but we make the remarks of referring to historical tornadoes that really impacted a lot of people and all that, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Well, the thing about this is, anyone that's getting impacted by this to begin with, this is their significant tornado day, regardless of the strength of the tornado, all right? Really, any strength of a tornado is going to be strong enough to produce some damage, whether or not it directly affects you or affects someone else near you and around you. So, just because this isn't producing right now, just because this isn't such a localized spot, does not mean people can't be impacted here. Especially considering Texas. Look, I'm the first person to know that there aren't a lot of people that live out here, particularly in this area of the Panhandle, in between all these roads. But it's still important that these people are getting the information that they need. So continue to spread this information with as many people as possible. And I do appreciate the support that we have gotten already. That's a very confined mesocyclone. That's a very confined rotation. Looks like 31 on top of 70. So it'd be a 101 mile an hour delta velocity. It's definitely strong enough, and maybe a second one to the east of it. One thing I also will know is that the thing has barely moved. It's barely moved since actually producing the wedge tornado. So I don't know. That's something that Texas does, I know, that much. It's something that these storms do when they're really starting to occlude, is they just cycle around each other endlessly. So. So, taking a look and trying to identify debris signature right now is admittedly impossible. So that's one thing to note. Does also look like this thing is losing structure rapidly. We do, though, have an 80 mile an hour wind gust report out of Mesonet observed in the Morton area. So this storm is producing some significant wind gusts, regardless of whether or not it's producing a tornado at the moment. So that's also something to note, that there are significant damaging winds going on in the area. One thing I'm also observing is that this is moving. While the mesocyclone itself isn't moving, the rain-wrapped crap and hailstones is moving northeast into it. So my question at this point is whether or not the mesocyclone is really going to be able to reform and resustain, and then if so, Does it pick up the storm with it and move it northeast toward what would be the Littlefield area? So you're looking at Littlefield here, maybe Amherst a little bit further north, and then Lum's Chapel a little bit further to the south along 385. There's a lot of question marks still to go around with this thing. Meanwhile, we do have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings across Texas, including some Del Rio stuff going on, so I'm going to touch on that very quickly. And if something happens with this, then we'll figure it out, because I'll have information going on through my headset because of tornado warnings that get issued and yada yada. We have a new day 1, so let's see if we can go on GR Earth and figure out what it's doing. So here are your slight risks. 1 for the majority of western Texas Panhandle, eastern New Mexico, and then 1 for South Texas for the Del Rio stuff, including Corpus Christi, yada yada. And there's your 5%. Extremely localized 5% risk for areas west of Lubbock, including Littlefield, Morton, Tokyo, and Sudan. So there's that up to tornado probabilities that we thought would have been the case without the tornado, but you know, is what it is. So Southern mergers, I think, what may go next. Yeah, possibly. I do see why you might think that, although this thing has to get involved with the mesocyclone again for that to really become a possibility. Mesocyclone really has to start to get its act together. Storming on 75%, I know, right? Getting the luxury treatment. Let's go up north. This is from an hour ago, so disregard this stuff. Yeah, it's anticyclonic, if anything, and I don't really think it's actually a thing to begin with. There's no updraft sustain. So a lot of gusty winds going on here. This storm in particular is very outflow dominant, very gusty. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning, including the Dumas area, which is a fairly large populace for Texas standards. Got a lot of hail across the board, and it does have some damaging wind gusts that are heading towards the area. So you're expecting 60 miles per hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail possibly going on with this thing as this pushes off towards the Dumas, Machovic, and Cactus areas through the 8:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time hours. So bear that in mind if you guys are in those areas. If you happen to be driving toward that area, you might need to be seeking some shelter in the near term. Can't talk today. Goodness gracious. What? I'm going to look at that in a second. Yeah. Flooding? Oh, this is new. 6 to 12 inches of water rushing across Highway 86, which I presume is right there. Yeah, it's going east to west. At County Road 16, which I presume is going north. It's not. This is a state road, so it's probably right here. At least 100-foot stretch off-duty National Weather Service employee report. So flash flooding is going on with these storms that are just sitting over this area near Friona, south of Friona, actually, south of United States Route 60, that is. So you see a lot of rain going on, more storms developing to the south. A bunch of these storms really are just continuing to push off towards the north and east. So you're getting a lot of these rain showers that are just trailing over the same areas. If you're talking about Dumas, that is where I am. The city has 18,000 citizens. Yeah, there's a lot of people there. I can just tell by zooming in a little bit. Once my maps get a little bit better resolution, yeah, you can see a lot of residents, it looks like. A lot of populace there for that area along 87. So you guys should be expecting some quarter-sized hail in the near term, possibly some strong wind gusts as well going on with the leading edge of this. So I would definitely be careful if you guys reside around there and happen to be doing anything in around there. Should be taking your proper precautions and getting into a sturdy shelter in the next 10-15 minutes or so as this pushes off towards your general direction. Going back to this. Oh yeah, a lot of rain showers have been trailing over the area. A bunch of hailstones as well that have probably melted into that same area. So not only are you getting the effects of the severe thunderstorm that's moving through, but you're also getting the effects of the flooding that's going on right there. That's old. Old. A supercell hitting another supercell would kill it, but nope. Sometimes. It depends on the environment, but in this case, they're probably just going to merge. Whether or not this thing produces another tornado down the line is yet to be seen. But, actually, my question may be being answered actively. Did I click it? I did click it. If that's the tornado, I'm done. I don't think that was. Okay, so, folks, here we have the presentation that we would expect of an up-and-coming supercell, just on reflectivity standards. So, this has merged. This all has merged into the center of the storm. You're now getting what looks to be the birth of another hooking signature, maybe a left flank velocity enhancement as well, around the N Oaks and the Morton areas that are residing along State Route 214. So, that's going on there. This is starting to wrap up and kind of just start with its counterclockwise spin in the Morton areas. So I should emphasize again, if you guys are in the Morton area, you should still be in your safe space, because this could redevelop right next to you guys. And particularly if you're on the eastern side of town, it's very imperative that you guys are watching out for the storm and taking your proper precautions when told to do so. Particularly what I would be watching out for especially is the threat for more significant hailstones as this thing gets better organized. So if you thought that egg-sized hail was being produced with just the storms merging and the storms moving northeast in the shape of what would be just like a general thunderstorm, not a well-organized thunderstorm, you could probably get hailstones larger than that as this pushes off towards the Littlefield areas. Actually, that has me curious. Is there a significant hail risk? There is now a significant hail risk for the supercell as well. So not only does this storm get the 5%, not only does it get the avocado treatment, but it gets the significant hail treatment, as there are hailstones reaching significant sizes over this area. Flash flood warning has been issued for these areas of Morton and Littlefield, for the cell that has just been sitting over the same area for what seems to be an hour plus now. So, once I get the text up, I'll see what's going on with that. That's something to note. RFD seems like it's starting to surge, so this thing may start to either produce a tornado in the near term, or it's going to start to move. Either one of those things. If you're in areas east of Morton, southwest of Littlefield, west of Lum's Chapel, and west of Witherall, you need to be watching out for this big time. So flash flood warning has been issued for these areas of Bailey, Cochrane, Hockley, and Lamb counties for this thunderstorm in itself that's producing widespread rain showers, widespread heavy rainfall, across the board from areas from Sudan to Witherall to Enox and Morton. So bear that in mind if you guys are in those areas. Turn around, don't drown. You don't want to get stuck in flooded roads, and especially at night, it's hard to tell what the actual depths of floodwaters are. Sent you a picture of it earlier, probably the best one I've seen yet. I believe, unless you DM'd it to me, Michael sent one as well. Yeah, you just sent it. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna retweet this on my Twitter. If you guys have anything to show me, tweet me at MJFold54. I will be able to see it, and I will be able to get a better perspective as well on the situation ongoing. Does definitely help as we are trying to spread this information to more and more people. Shut up, me. So I sent it in my so I sent it there. You guys can go take a look at it. Don't want to get copyrighted by the guy, and it's his stuff, so I'm not going to take away what's his. His shot. I'm going to leave it to him. If you want to go see it, it is linked in chat there. It's an unbelievable tornado. Unbelievable tornado. Very photogenic. Very photogenic. Up, there it goes. There it goes. Confirmed tornado once again. Weather spotters confirmed tornado 4 miles southwest of Pep, and here's the new tornado warning.
Tornado warning for southeastern Bailey County in northwestern Texas, northeastern Cochran County in northwestern Texas, northwestern Hockley County in northwestern Texas, southwestern Lamb County in northwestern Texas.
So 4 miles southwest of Pep? What? Wait. So Pep is like here, give or take, near the county border. Does that mean it's here? Or would it be here, or would it be here? There's 3 spots of rotation here, ladies and gentlemen. 3. The longest lived of the 3 is probably the one directly east of Morton. That is the one that I would be watching for sustained development. All 3 of these areas have spectrum width indicating turbulence going to the ground. Wow. So, this is a confirmed tornado warning that has been issued for the areas north of Whiteface, including Morton. So if you guys are in Morton, you need to continue, and I say continue because you've probably been in there for about an hour now, to be in your tornado shelters, underground or lowest airmost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet. This is some unbelievable stuff we're seeing right here, folks. This is a slight risk that was issued today, 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, that is now producing one of the most strong supercells that we've seen all year. And there's your bounded weak echo region there, right there, ladies and gents. So we're gonna get a new velocity frame here very shortly. There's your bounded weak echo region. This little circle of precipitation with the circle of smaller or lower, reflectivity values right there, just north of the state route, just north of 114. So in addition to that, there's your large hail, possibly upwards of 3 inches in diameter. So again, like I said, you're not only going to have the threat of damaging winds in a tornado with this, but you're also going to have the threat of seeing hailstones that could shatter windows, break through roofs, damage cars significantly, possibly total cars. You got a lot of stuff going on with this. There's your developing mesocyclone. That is very concerning. That's pretty concerning in my honest opinion. That's going to be something that we're going to have to watch for the sustained development. I'm gonna try and chase this thing. Might as well. I'm in the path of it. I don't advise that. I don't know if there's daylight out there in areas of. Oh, that being said, I don't really advise that because this is a very treacherous storm, very, very dangerous storm that could, if you don't chase correctly, could engulf you. So it's a very difficult decision to make. If you chase, you need to do so safely and from a distance. That's what I would suggest. Anything new? The answer is new. No cameras. Lovely. So, folks, like I said, I don't know. I said this earlier, but I'm getting a lot more people now. Continue to tweet at me. At MJFloat54 if you're seeing new photos of this in particular. That way we may be able to spread this information to more and more people. Yeah, significant hail. Goodness gracious. Upwards of, like I said, your softball size. Just under softball size, probably. About 3 inches in diameter that you're likely experiencing in the areas northeast of Morton. Maybe try and get in the northern part of the storm and see it from there. That's a mistake. Hailstones. That is a giant mistake. Do not do that. Yeah, you don't want to blow out your windshield. That's not a good choice. Goodness gracious, updraft. You know what I haven't done? Let's cause chaos. Let's take a 3D, and yes, I can do that with GR2 Analyst. Goodness gracious. So not only do you have tops shooting to 50,000 feet, you can note the 50K right here, but you have one of the best structures presentation-wise that I have seen in several months. Classic billowing tops going up this way on the center of the storm. Low-level circulation, wall cloud extending out here. Could even be the tornado. Your inflow notch, inflow unimpeded right here. Like, really unimpeded. Like, there's nothing to the south of it. I mean, just look at this notch. I mean, that's as clear-cut as it gets, folks. As it gets. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. So, folks, we got to continue to spread this information with more and more people on YouTube so we can get this information out to the people that need it, because people might not know about this going on. There's our new tornado report. New report of its touching down in an open field via a storm chase 10 minutes ago. So, what do I need to do? I need to do that. All right. So, looking back on this, there's your new mesocyclone. Like I said, would not be surprised if that tries to produce again in the near term, and even a little bit higher up in the sky looks better. So, that's something that needs to be monitored very, very closely. That's also an area that seems to be less impacted by hail compared to the rest of the storm, so that may also help tornado development in the future. Morgan, check Twitter. I'm checking Twitter right now. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Goodness. Yeah, that's unreal. That's unreal. Heading towards Lubbock, but it's moving extremely slowly. Yeah, it's moving slowly to the point of where I wouldn't really be concerned if I'm in Lubbock. The more, if I'm looking at this storm, the more areas I would be concerned about this impacting are areas like Whiteface and Levelland. Whiteface and Levelland right now are the areas that I'm concerned about being impacted the most. Those are the areas that it's really going to occlude towards, so to speak, if it does start to impact. So this is not only a very tricky storm for us to try and predict where it's going to go, but it's also very tricky for the National Weather Service in Lubbock in this case. So, very difficult for them to figure out what the heck this is doing. So I don't blame them for just issuing a giant warning box around really where the mesocyclone is itself. It makes total sense in my honest opinion. Is it on the ground still? It is reported. I'm not sure if it's on the ground now. 4-inch sized hailstones. That's great. Right in the center of that. Yeah, that's a lot of hail. So you can see once again the lower areas of reflectivity values being shown. That was a crap circle. Lower areas of reflectivity values being shown. So that's just something to note across the board. All right. So I was saying, there's your hailstones just around that area. That's a lot of hail that's falling in the areas to the north and east of Morton. So this is discrete as well, pretty much. Sort of. Is that an area? It might be. Velocity. Still looks okay in the mid-levels. It's not getting itself together at the surface, which is kind of surprising given the structure. Echo tops are still shooting well over 50,000 feet. 51,500 feet now. Yeah, this is pretty ridiculous. Sister lives in Lubbock. I wouldn't be concerned right now, like I said, if you're in Lubbock, I wouldn't really be worrying about this unless it gets like within 20 miles of your area and still is sustaining. You have to bear in mind that it's 8 o'clock Central Time, so I don't know how long this thing really is going to put up a fight. Can't be the longest amount of time, I would imagine. So. Okay. So, at the time that the report came in, it was at this stage. So, if I had to guess, the tornado was probably here. It is likely no longer there. What is happening now? It's over-convecting. That's the issue. So, one thing, so what I'm noticing now, so on a different YouTube, it's massive. Yeah, I can imagine. 20 season gets me excited yet scared because I live in north central Texas. Yeah, I can imagine that would be the case. Because it's like you want to see the stuff, but at the same time could impact life and property, you know? It's like a very powerful left split with anticyclonic tornado potential also forming in south and far southern Texas. Really? You're talking about the... You know what, folks? What's the closest radar to all of this? Is it really Corpus Christi? What? Oh my gosh. Hold up. I have a better way to do this. Considering Omega just gives me crap most of the time. With another tab here. So... can do it this way. See all that's going on down here. Wow. Oh, holy Del Rio. Oh my gosh. Ow. Ow. Goes without saying, if you're in the Escobas area, yeah, that's probably baseball-sized hail falling in that area reliably. I don't think 5 inches is accurate because I'm looking up 2 miles in the sky. I'm looking up over like 10,500 feet or so. But, wow. Just wow. Is this area in a slide? I think so. Should be, yeah. There's no... Not what I wanted. Alright. So, there was your 60,000 foot echo tops there for a moment, briefly. Heading towards the Randado area. So, if you guys are south of Hebronville, along what is State Route 16 near Randado, I would advise taking your proper precautions and getting into as close to a tornado shelter as possible. Because just being in your house or in a car is not safe at all. Not right now. Not one bit. With these kinds of hailstones falling, nah, it is not safe at all. Same goes with this storm. Goodness gracious. Look at this hail spike, too. So, this happens when correlation coefficient is picking up a lot, so it actually reflects it twice. So, it goes out that way. And not only are you getting a giant spike, but in the storm itself, you have a ton of lower values here that are likely indicating significant hail going on with this, too, as this heads towards, Encinal, I believe. Encinal, something along that line. If I'm botching pronunciations, please tell me. Somebody, beg, I would appreciate it. Also, for the sake of situational things, going to do that. Close to I'm on the road about 3 miles out of the tornado warning, and the rotation is right in the path of me. You need to book it in the opposite direction. That would be my advice, especially considering the fact that this is moving slowly. I would gain some distance. I would gain some distance at least, to try and make sure that you're protecting yourself to the best of the ability as you can. Let's drop back here north on it. Looking at this, you can definitely see where the inflow at least is. And there's a lot of it too as this gets closer and closer to the radar site. I don't see much tornadic potential at the moment though. I see a lot of hailstones. I see hail upwards in 3 inches, maybe 4 inches even in these areas northeast of Morton, west of Lum's Chapel and Witherall. So that's something to note. If this wraps a little bit, I would be watching out for possible tornadic development once again. But at the moment, hard to say. I wish I could send pictures in my chat. My cat is lying down peacefully and wishing everyone in the path of the storm safety. That's cool. Imagine just the cat looking at the screen itself and just being like, eh. Yeah, this is pretty unbelievable here, folks. This said, I don't think there's much tornadic potential with these storms, just given the amount of hail that's being produced. Maybe a brief tornado or two. But other than that, should not be that much to worry about. So yeah, folks, we gotta continue to spread this information with as many people as possible. I know we're getting it out a lot, and I do appreciate the support that I've been given on the stream thus far. That's not the point, because we are just trying to get this information out. I really don't care about subscribers or anything like that. The point is, when I go live, I'm just trying to get the information out to the people that would need the information. So we're just trying to spread as much as we can here, just across a widespread basis. There we go. Okay, sorry, I had to do that for 1 second. Cold core merger, that's how everything is formed today, and I anticipate it to still be a threat. Very unpredictable at this time. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. See if there's really anything identifiable from using this radar. I'm going to pull this off to my side screen here. Wow, it is only in like the 60s and 70s down there. Maybe 80s a little bit. Yeah, very cold. Well, not very, but, you know, point made. More cells now crossing the border. And that makes sense. A lot of hailstones. These are 2 damage threat considerable severe thunderstorm warnings for said hailstones. So there's 2-inch hail in effect for the storm south of Encinal. And then also tennis ball sized hail warned for these areas to the south and west of Hebronville. So that's something to note. Like I was saying, very significant hailstones that could be falling. Speaking of significant hailstones that could be falling, geez. It's 76 dBZs. Now, thankfully, doesn't look like it's impacting much. But there are a couple of houses here. There's a house down there. It's just really spread throughout. That is the main problem here. It looks like it's starting to overconvect. It does look like that may be the case. Echo tops are pretty well sustained. Excuse me. Do this here. I'm still dead. Morgan's a very good replacement. Yeah, allergies are kicking both of us at the moment, but I can manage because it's not really as here as it is like physical presence. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but like I'm beat up. Look like I've been through war. So the tornado storm, I'm in the path of it. I don't know what I should do. I guess I'm gonna ride it out. If you have an eastern option, take it and run with it. Getting a little too dark now. Yeah, it's getting late at night. It's 8:30 your time, so that's not surprising at all. For so many storm mergers, excuse me, probably was just too big and too cold due to all the hailstones. That's possible. Yeah. Well, the allergies are more threatening. I know, right? That's the biggest thing, like, for us that do what we do, and it requires our voice and stuff like that. Ugh. These time periods are just, ouch. Allergies result in sinus and almost pneumonia. Wow, that was a moment, according to my doctor. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's very much so unfortunate. I'm trying to identify where this might be gaining traction. That's an inflow notch. That is indeed an inflow notch, just right in here, folks. You can see the clear air with the inflow going unimpeded right into the storm, shooting up the tops. The allergies are more significant than the Oklahoma tornadoes now. What Oklahoma tornadoes? There aren't any. So I'm safe in Levelland. Levelland, it's heading towards you. So you're not in a warning right now, but it's not out of the possibilities that it could head towards you in the near term. So I would watch out for that in the next half hour, 45 minutes or so as the storm starts to move. Because it does look like it's starting to move now. It does look like it's starting to move a little bit more now, which may actually decrease the tornado threat. It may also be splitting. So we're going to have to watch out for that in the near term as well. Webb County damage destructive. Is it really? It is indeed. Baseball-sized hail has been issued for this area, so we'll drop back down south here just for a moment. Here's your damage threat destructive tag for areas south of Encinal. Someone please help me with pronunciations. I can't do this today. So if you guys are really along Interstate 35, there's probably people driving right into this, unfortunately. If you guys are along Interstate 35 between Botines and Encinal, you do need to be getting off the road, taking your proper precautions, getting into a sturdy structure as possible. There's really no cameras here that are good, which is unfortunate. That's pretty few at least. I was trying to see a bunch of cameras here and see if there's any that would, like, help. And not really. Or you should join Neon Germany stream to pronounce those names. I'm German, actually, so that might be a little bit more natural to me. A little bit. But not too much. See the trampoline video from Ottawa? I did see that. It's going to hit Lubbock, Texas. Lubbock is likely in the clear, so let's just go look back. Lubbock, because of your timing and the fact that you guys are still way out of this is moving in this general direction, but I would say that you guys are probably not going to be impacted by the strongest part of the storm. I would say that that is probably not the biggest threat for you guys at the moment. It does look like we may have another couplet here in the middle of the storm, so that's going to be very difficult to make out. If you guys are in those areas, it's going to be very difficult to see. There's your new rotation. That's fairly strong, associated with this inflow notch and this little hooking signature. So, good new merger tornado in the Morton cell. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, Nate. Thank you. Both areas that might have potential to produce. So possibly 2 areas of rotation that we have going on right now, ladies and gents. One here and then one here. So one to the east of Morton and then one near Whiteface, heading towards the Levelland and Cobble areas. So for that person that just asked if they were safe in Levelland, this may be the time for you guys to start taking your precautions. Maybe starting to move towards your area, or maybe just to the south and west of you. But regardless, it does look like the storm is starting to move towards your general direction. So I would be watching out for that. When did this produce 3-inch hail? When did this start doing that? Do that in a second. So like I said, for that person in Levelland that asked if they were safe, this may be the time for you guys to start to take your precautions. This may be the time for you to start to take your precautions. Big Spring, I haven't seen that name really across the board. So I'm going to look. I'm going to map it right now just to double check. But I think you guys are in the clear. Big Spring is in the clear. Big Spring, you're along... You're along 20. You are in the clear. Big Spring is not being impacted at the moment at all. So you guys are just next to Midland. There's Big Spring right there. Yeah, you guys are getting nothing at all. You guys are safe. You guys are indeed safe. So there's the B where maybe a tornado that is actually being produced right now. There's a new tornado warning that just got issued, so we'll listen in for that.
Tornado warning for northeastern Cochran County in northwestern Texas, northwestern Hockley County in northwestern Texas.
So it's an extension towards the south and east, and it does include Levelland. So for that person, I'm going to say once again, that is in the Levelland area, this is the time for you to take your proper precautions. Underground or lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet with no windows, so you can put as many walls between yourself and the potential tornado as possible. You also have time to get like helmets, boots, pillows, mattresses, stuff that could possibly not null the impact, but it could possibly lighten the impact a little bit if you happen to be impacted in that area to the south and east of this storm. So let's take a look by going a little bit up into the sky with this. This does look like it's getting better in terms of structure with height. Does look like that is the case. Looks like this structure also as well is pretty good. So we're going to really need to watch both of these areas of rotation in the near term to possibly produce Here in my mind working 3D. I hate to sound like my chat. There it is. Did it earlier. I don't know if it's still... Yeah, it's still definitely applicable. Goodness gracious. So you have your tops shooting to almost 50,000 feet. Hell of an inflow notch going on here. Unbelievable inflow notch. You can see just overspreading this area. The arching motion is including probably what is the tornado itself even. Here's your wall cloud. Extended out by this lowering here on the left side of the storm. So in here would probably be where your tornado is. That would probably be where you're going here. So if it does not hit Levelland, that's what we're hoping right now. Levelland is not a small area, so we're hoping that is the case. Today's meteorologist, keep up the good work. I appreciate that. We're just trying to get this information out to the people that need it. That's the big thing here. That's the big thing here. Because people down there might not have cable, might not have satellite. Why am I saying cable? I'm from New Jersey. Goodness gracious. Might not have satellite. So, they might not know what's going on with this. They might see lightning, hear thunder and all that, and be like, what's going on? They're probably going to go to areas like YouTube or just looking online in general. So hopefully with the support that you guys have been getting me. So, hopefully with that support, like I said, we are spreading this information to the people that need it and getting this information out. Velocity's died. That's great. That is probably a tornado being produced right now, northeast of Levelface and northwest of Cobble. So, that is something that we need to bear in mind. I can't really tell. That it may be a tornado. It may be a tornado. I'm just looking off prior scans. It may be a tornado that is on the ground right now. That probably is the case. So if you guys are in the Cobble areas or in the Levelland areas, this is the time for you guys to take your proper precautions and get into your safe space. My name is Morgan. I'm from New Jersey and I can't speak. That is correct. Flooding is insane. Many roads washed out. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to be expecting, especially with areas in the east of Morton, excuse me, and west of Witherall. What is going on with that storm? I think it's going outflow dominant. So if you guys are in the Dimmet areas, again, not a small area, I would advise taking your safe spaces because you have a storm with what might be some ping pong ball sized hail heading towards your area and 70 miles per hour wind gusts to boot. So I would advise maybe starting to move to shelters. Same situation for the areas down south, like very dangerous hailstorms that are coming towards your area. Yeah, that is a tornado on the ground, I believe. That is a tornado. So if you, like I said again, if you are in the cobble areas, time to go. It is your time to go to your safe spaces. So velocities aren't exactly my friend. I'm going to try. And this is probably not going to work because I'm looking through the hail. Yeah, no. Took all 2 seconds. Oh, there's your secondary rotation to the north of Whiteface. That's also something to bear in mind. Goodness, there's multiple rotations across the board still with this storm. And there's the rotation. There's the velocities not dying. And yeah, that is a tornado. That is indeed a tornado. So if you guys are in the cobble areas along State Route 114 heading towards Levelland, this is the time to get into your safe spaces. Underground or lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet with no windows so you can put as many walls between yourself and the potential tornado as possible. What app? GR2 Analyst. It costs a lot. It costs $250. But it is one of the best radar products out there that you can get. He was in South Carolina today. I wondered how he's feeling. Oof. Oof. 100% chance of a tornado level. And I wouldn't say that. It's very likely that it is on the ground right now, but whether or not it gets to Levelland is still to be determined. But, like I said, if you guys are in the cobble areas or in the areas to the south and west of Levelland in particular, you need to be watching out for this. And maybe even with the northern rotation as well, that could start to head towards your area, although cobble is likely the more area at larger risk. So tornado may not be on the ground as of now. May not be the case. But I do definitely think that it could still be on the ground, or definitely still could touch down again at a later point. That's great. Thanks, velocities. You can even still tell where the rotation is even with them de-aliasing to crap. So you can see the little TVS or tornado vortex signature marker here indicating via GR2 analyst's algorithm. I should just slow down a little bit. Via that algorithm, that may be where the tornado is. Now, it's not perfect by all means, so it's typically not correct, unless you have like a very clear-cut tornado, like that's a tornado. So like for example, if we go back here and look at correlation coefficient, so you can see the lower value here of 63%, you cross that over with the velocities and the reflectivity, boom, that's a tornado right there. But with something like this, you can still actually tell that's where the tornado is. I mean, the debris is fanning, and it's definitely the values are definitely a lot higher than they were, but you can definitely still tell. Boom, that's where the tornado was. That's really how radar is useful in determining for us analysts where the tornadoes actually are and where the activity is actually ongoing. So that's really what I'm using. Those are really the skills that I'm trying to use in order to get the information out and in order to make people understand the situation that we got going on here. Is Levelland likely to be hit? In some way, yes. So, regardless of whether or not the tornadic portions of the storm head towards your area, you do have this giant hail core that's heading towards the south and east generally. So, Levelland is to be impacted in some way, shape, or form. That's what I'm going to say right here. Whether or not that be large hail, whether or not that be tornadic activity, whether or not that be damaging wind gusts, or whether or not it be a combination of 2 or 3 of them, you are likely to be impacted in some way, and it's very important that you guys are watching that for that area. There's a bigger 2 tour tomorrow. Is there really? I'll look later. Do this. Day 2. Oh, there is. Goodness gracious. That's a giant 2%. Huh. Carolinas again, too. Radar is still dying. The tornado is definitely on the ground again, heading right for Kabul. So if you guys, like I said, are in Kabul along 114, need to go. You need to go. This is definitely on the ground again, even with the velocities dying. So you can see that. And then if we look at reflectivity, you just got your hook. That's right, consolidated right there. That's as clear cut as it gets here. Maybe I should use a better color. There we go. Right as clear cut as it gets right there. Your hook is right in there. If we take a look at velocities, that's where your hook is as well. If you take a look at correlation coefficient, that's where your debris signature is. If you look at ZDR, which could maybe be used to determine whether or not there's something actually going towards the ground, you can definitely see there's also some lower values there. So, boom, tornado, right there. There you go. You can see it. Now, again, stuff like that isn't always perfect, so it's not always that easy for us to be able to tell, is this on the ground or not? It's not always that clear cut. Unfortunately, for us that like to watch radar to be able to determine tornadoes, it's just not that easy sometimes. But with a storm like this that's as close to the radar as it is, we're only looking up about 3,000 feet from the ground here with the storm. With something like that that's so close to the ground, it's really easy to tell, especially with with CC and stuff like that, spectrum width, indicating turbulence to the ground, yada, 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 makes it easier for us, especially when it's closer to the radar site. Because when it's farther away, we really can't tell. Yeah, it's a definite correlation coefficient drop that is ongoing with this. Spectrum width is just non-conclusive, really, so I can't really use it. Velocities aren't dying out on this range on this latest scan. It might not be including, instead might be wobbling around the perimeter of the mesocyclone. That's what strong tornadoes do. Strong tornadoes wobble. So that may be what's the case going on. That may be the case going on here. Surface-based and short-lived, indeed. Leveland reports tornado. Really? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. There's your confirmed tornado, by the way. That's hanging right for Leveland. So, yeah, that's weather spotters confirmed with golf ball size hail. 9 miles west of Leveland, moving southeast to 15. So this is not a fast-moving storm here, folks. Yeah, there's your debris. This is definitely down. 100%. Now, it does look like in the latest scan that's picking up speed. So that's one thing. And maybe heading right for Leveland. So that's not good. That is not good. Jeez. Doing a great job. I appreciate that. Any storm chasers on the cell still? Let's find out, actually. Oh yeah, there's a few. There's more than a few. They're huddling along 114, which may not be good, because convergence, and this storm's about to bear right down on the state route. That's not good. They gotta run. People that are along County Road 300 are probably playing it smarter here, south of Leveland, south of Kabul. Yeah, velocities are just not registering. Don't think that's the tornado. I think this still is the tornado. And it looks like it's weaker, or it also may not be hitting anything. That's also a distinct possibility. That's one of the other things with CC. You really can't tell if it's down unless it's hitting something, which is the unfortunate reality. So we kind of just have to go off our instinct. when it comes to that. I don't know why this thing is still alive. Probably has to do with convergence. And sheer and helicity. Goodness, those have upticked significantly. Cobble around 114 take cover. Absolutely. Tilt 2 showing 90 and 50. It's so difficult to tell. Like, that's one of the other things when storms are like this and so strong like this. It's so hard to tell at times, especially when there's hail involved, because then everything gets bleh. Oh. Yeah, it's down again. It's down again. Max Olson has a stovepipe. He does have a stovepipe on it. Checking DMs now. Did you mean to send me something in particular, Nate? Because if you did, I didn't get it. If you meant for me to set right on a particular parameter of it, I didn't get it. It just sent me to the sector. That's so hard to tell again. Oh. Really? Wait. Oh my gosh. And everything just cut out. We're gonna have to use different tilt to really be able to tell now. That's unfortunate, but here we are. So Nate brings up a very good point. So here's your 3 cape and your surface vorticity. Let's zoom in. Your storm is here. Your storm is here, and here's your max of 3 cape and vort. It's right along this boundary, and it's riding that axis. So you see the blue lines here in combination with the red area. So you have both 3 cape and vorticity. So you have something to hold it together in the mid-levels, and then that convergence, that vorticity to drive it at the surface. That's what we have going on here, and that's a very good pointer by Nate. Gosh, that's... yeah. Still dead, yeah. Hard to say if it's still on the ground, but this is heading right towards Leveland. Right toward that area. But people gotta go. If you're in Leveland, you need to get into your safe spaces. Where's an 8TL cape bomb? It's not really, though. That's the thing. You only got about 2,500 cape with this. At max. This isn't even, like, the biggest cape bomb thing we've seen. Excuse me. Crap, that's not what I wanted. So this thing definitely has the upper levels to do it as this heads east. If it continues to ride that axis, we might have an issue. I'm not even gonna lie. If it goes right down 114, and it might. I'm gonna check. What am I doing? I've done this before. I should know what I'm doing. Lubbock. Vertical wind profiles. Photographs. Yeah, there's your eastward storm movement. That's a pretty grungy profile, but it gets the job done, especially when the structure's already present. See what it was like earlier. Hasn't changed a whole lot. Probably maybe getting better with time. Yeah, it looks like it may be getting better with time. Particularly the mid-levels, among other things. So this may be the time that it goes. This may actually be the time that it really goes. It's all gusting out. It seems it's hard to say now. Hard to say as of now. The velocities came back, but it's not like it's helpful. It's not helpful at the second tilt either. So let's try and determine whether or not it's doing anything here, and it doesn't look like it. No correlation coefficient. A giant storm here, folks. Giant storm. And maybe if anything's going to develop, it's probably going to be on the southern flank of it. It's probably going to be on the southern flank of it going on here. How's level in Texas now? If you're in Levelland, like I said, you should be in your safe spaces. Underground or lowest airmost part of your building, you need to get to your tornado shelters on the off chance that this does produce heading towards that general area. Because very hard to say as of right now. It's not something you can really take a chance on. So you really got to make sure that you're taking as many precautions as you can to keep yourself safe. Nate makes a good point. Yeah, it's actually useful. Should take a storm relative of this. There's a new tornado warning that just got issued, so we'll listen in.
Tornado warning for Central Hockley County in northwestern Texas.
So it's probably an extension of this towards the southeast. That would be my guess. And indeed it is. It is for the entire area of Levelland. So there you go. Gonna wait for this to get issued, and then we'll go talk about it here. Yeah, there it is. So tornado warning for the entire areas of Levelland, areas south of Witherall, and the area of Cobble. If you guys are in any of those areas, you need to be taken to your safe spaces now. As well as Opdyke West. Opdyke West, you need to be watching out for that as well. I'm going to uncheck spotters because I really can't see anything otherwise. It was useful in the moment, but now it's not. So it's got the mesocyclone to do it. So we're going to have to watch out as this continues. Continues further along towards the south and east. Zynga Zynga is not PDS. It is not PDS. Tornado Sirens in Levelland. Yeah, that doesn't shock me. There is now the warning in effect, so that is something to note. Maybe a tornado on the ground again. Possibly. I'm going to need a new frame of everything else to really be able to determine that. Heard of a lot of debris in Levelland. That I would not expect to be the case. That I would not expect to be the case as of now. So, velocities are still not helpful. But it is possible that there's a tornado right embedded in here. It is possible that there is a tornado right in here, maybe. So, looking at velocities, there's a couple couplets. One here, maybe one here as well. That was a bad one. Maybe one in here as well. Just across the board. So, let's take a look at spectrum width. Take a look at CC. This one may be down. I would believe if this one is down. This one doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. So these are brief things that are going to touch down and lift pretty quickly. Regardless, like I said, if you're in Cobble, south of Witherall, Levelland, in particular, Opdyke West, you need to be in your safe spaces. Now is the time to go. Is it going to hit Lubbock, Texas? Maybe at some point in its lifespan. You're still probably an hour out from it, though. It is starting to move east, though, at a fairly quick rate. So, noticing from earlier, what we got here, we had a storm that was really just kind of sitting. Now it has picked up the pace fairly rapidly, and it's moving east fairly quickly. So, Lubbock, you may actually be at risk within the next hour. You may actually be at risk. Actually be at risk. So, folks, we got to continue to spread this information with as many people as possible. I know it's late at night. I know people are starting to settle down for bed. But if people are in this area and they hear thunder, can't just write it off. This is a pretty significant storm that's heading towards the areas of Levelland and along 114 into Lubbock, possibly. So, people got to continue to know about what's going on here. You get so close. Apparently, some learned nothing from El Reno. I know, right? El Reno was one of a kind. Unbelievable. Hopefully cold front kills the storm. Yeah, it's not going to be for a while, even if it does. Won't be for a while, indeed. The storm's got nothing. It's only fighting itself. The only thing it's fighting is itself. Thanks, because I live in Lubbock. Yeah, just watch out for this in the near term. You need to be watching out for this in the short term. What are the wind speeds of the supercell in Lubbock? So it's hard to say. I can't really give you an exact measurement on the wind speeds at the moment because there's really nothing that would really give me an accurate measurement. So that's our main challenge here. So velocities are back. I can go back to using this. This is an impressive mesocyclone, folks. Very impressive mesocyclone. Looks very good in the mid-levels. If it translates to the surface, there's going to be problems for these folks in Levelland and Opdyke West. There's going to be some very big problems for these folks. Sister lives in Texas. I have nothing hits where she lives. I should actually update that. The text is not really correct. I'm just going to change this. Crap. There we go. This is in western Texas. Not really. I feel like I should have been more specific at the beginning. That's my bad. I apologize. 130 miles per hour in the cell is my guess. That would not be the case unless there's a tornado on the ground. That, I don't think, would be the case unless there's a tornado on the ground. Only Doppler on wheels could give such wind readings. That's true. Expect a new tornado in 5 minutes. That is quite possible. So I really can't tell. It might be handing off again at the surface. Might be. I don't think that's a tornado. Although I can't really tell at the same note. I guess the lack of low level cape, maybe, possibly. It could be inhibiting it a little bit. It's also just late at night, so you're not going to really have that to begin with when it comes to storms like this. Let's drop back north for 90 seconds. So I mentioned earlier the area of Dimmitt might need to watch out. They are now in a severe thunderstorm warning with a damage threat considerable tag. So if you guys are in those areas of Dimmitt, Sunnyside as well, you guys could be expecting some 70 miles per hour wind gusts and ping pong ball size tail in the near term. So you do need to be watching out for that as this pushes off towards your east. To the hurricane center in the Pacific it's going. I'll look later. I haven't taken much keens to that. Ooh. So here's your low-level meso. Oh yeah, there's definitely your low-level meso. Look at this, folks. Wrapping around like so. and then hooking right in there. So that's where your concentrated area of precipitation is. Yeah. Alright, that makes a lot more sense now. So, hopefully what this means is that the areas of level land won't see a tornado from this, but it's still hard to rule that out as of now. So we can't really say that as of yet. Okay, I get a new velocity frame, or did I get a new velocity frame? I did get a new velocity frame. Well, it looks like the meso at the surface is strengthening, so that's one thing to bear in mind, and it looks like it's doing that just across the board here in general. I can put on de-aliasing again. That's great. So it does look like just at the surface this is getting its act together again, and there may even be multiple rotations. It's a very significant storm that's going to be impacting the areas of United States Route 385 between Levelland and Witherall in the short term. If you guys know anyone that is in that area or know anyone that may be around that area, particularly to the east and to the west of those areas, not as much so north-south, even though there is going to be severe thunderstorm potential in that, but particularly to the west and east, those kind of general boundaries, you need to be watching out very closely. Is this occluding? I would say so. In fact, what I might be watching for, even if the environment is good enough, is for this entire swath to band in with this part of the storm. So I expect this to maybe move to the north and east and band in with this part of the storm. The low-level meso is here. The low-level meso is here as signified by the hook region. So I expect this to maybe clear up to the north and east and diminish the amount of precipitation going on here. If that is the case, and it's not 100% going to be the case, but if that does happen, we could be talking about another tornadic situation going on here. Is there anything to worry about in North Texas in the DFW area? Not right now. Not tonight, but you guys are in a slight risk tomorrow. Level 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale for tomorrow. So that's one thing you do need to note. Warning us the goat. I wouldn't say that, but we are trying to spread the base here. So I do appreciate all the support that I have been getting, and we're just trying to get this information out to the people that need it. So the more the merrier. Yeah, this is getting stronger by the minute. I'm trying to figure out if there's any possibility at all. Any at all. Okay. Sorry. Any possibility at all that there's maybe a tornado going on down here, and I don't see it unless it's anticyclonic. Unless it's anticyclonic, I don't see there really being a tornado down there. However, I would see there being a tornado maybe right in here. Maybe a brief tornado right here, circulating next to the mesocyclone, parent mesocyclone itself, which is still trying to produce. And maybe even in the upper tilts, you can see that area of rotation as well. So, very hard to say across the board here. 459 watching, but 5 likes. What is going on? Maybe refresh. I don't know about that, but YouTube does that on occasion. So that may just be your stream. The lower information stream seems jittery, just saying. If you're talking about the scroll text, it's fine on my screen. It should be fine on my screen. I'm not having any. It doesn't. Streamlabs hasn't said that I've had any connection issues. In fact, it says that I've had 0 dropped frames, which I don't know if I believe, but you know. Does look like this is continuing to expand towards the north and east. This reflectivity isn't going away, so that's one thing to note. This may also be hail. The CC that I've been noting may also be hailstones as well that are falling in the general areas. So that may also be a thing. I'm gonna check Twitter, see if I've had anything mentioned my way. Oh, there it is, yeah. So 10 minutes ago, the cobblestorm was on the ground. So that's important to see. That's important to note. Yeah, keep mentioning things my way, folks. At MJFlip54. If you have anything that you're seeing, just let me know of it. Yeah, it's probably hail. It's probably is hail. There's your funnel cloud report and your level end. So I actually wonder if there is something trying to form on the leading edge, maybe. I'm getting warm though. That is one thing. What is it here? 66? It doesn't feel like it's 66. Goodness. Huh. So. The meso may have just collapsed. It may have just collapsed. Is Arkansas getting severe weather tomorrow? Possibly. Maybe a little bit. You guys are in a slight risk, so I would watch out for that. 2% tornado risk. So it is possible. You know what? I'm not going to bother. Possible formation west of Leveland. See, that's one thing, but I don't know where. I'm not 100% sure where it would be. I'm not going to lie. I see the leading edge, so I definitely see that there is the possibility that something's forming along that, but I find it hard to believe. I'm going to try once again false hope, but I know false hope I know, but I'm going to try and look. No, nothing even in Lubbock. Radar's once again picking up 4-inch hail in the core of this storm, so once again, maybe even a little bit larger than 4 inches, goodness gracious. So maybe once again we have the issues of large hail overriding the storm itself. Yeah, that's a lot of hailstones. You know what? I just did this, but I'm going to do it again. This time. See the shades of pink. See if from this side it's any better. No, not really. Oh yeah, there's your hail core right up the middle here. Right here. You can see the shades of pink going on right there. Ridiculous. Insane. Mesocyclone does look like it's weakening across the board, but maybe a new one's forming to the southern edge. Maybe. That's going to be hard. We're going to have to watch out for that in the near term, too. A lot of stuff that we need to watch out in the short term for possible future impacts. Tornadoes earlier were huge. Yeah. Yeah. I retweeted some of them on my thing just to get it out to more people. Just trying to look through Twitter to see if I can see anything. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. That's not what I wanted. The tornado reported expired. This one's still in effect. So the mesocyclone itself is weakening on a widespread basis. A large hail threat is giving way, and I wonder if there really is any tornado threat down the line for this thing, because it's pretty messy. On the upper tilts, looks like it may start to hand off, but that's going to be... You have to watch out for see if that actually happens. But in the meantime, we probably have hailstones in excess of baseball size or so falling south of Witherall, or even in Witherall as well. So, really, if you're in the path of the storm at all, so at this point I would be talking about Opdyke West, Smyre, Shallow Water, Roundup, Anton, maybe even Lum's Chapel on the back edge of this, because you could be talking about some hail on the back end of this as well. Just watch out for that. Watch out for that. Very significant hailstones. Check chat here. 'Put a percentage on the tornado going towards Lubbock, Texas. What did you say about the percentage? I'm gonna lay out on that question. I'm gonna opt not to answer, because that's one of those things where it's with a storm like this in particular. I can't make a call on that. Not at this time. But all I'm gonna say right now is that Lubbock should be watching for a large hail threat at the minimum in the next hour or so. Pronounced Witterall. Witherall. Thank you. Witherall. Okay, that makes more sense now, actually, thinking about it. Tornado threat being gone is a good thing. It should be a good thing unless this decides to form a new mesocyclone on the eastern edge, which it might try. This storm's ridiculous. Not to mention the large hail that's falling across the board too. Ouch. That's an ouch. Yeah, that's a lot of ice stones. See the tornado in Morton, Texas, huge. That's why I went live. That's why I went live. What? 70 miles per hour wind gusts with this storm line? Goodness. Go back to Dimmet here. This stuff... It's moving about as slowly as everything else, which is to say... Check 3 Cape and Vort. Oh, my radar doesn't want to work on that, so that's one thing. Huh. So... So it may actually be done, or close to that. Nah, I don't think that's... Nah, I don't think so. Although, I am maybe starting to believe that this thing may be trying to form a new meso on the eastern edge. It may be. A new velocity frame here any minute. Yeah, these correlation coefficient values are some of the lowest for hailstones that I've seen in a long amount of time. Is Alabama good tomorrow? I don't think they're in that high of a risk. Alabama is mostly in a marginal except for the northern half of the state, northern quarter of the state. 5% damaging wind risk, no tornado threat, although it is always non-zero when it comes to thunderstorm days. So, Alabama should be good tomorrow for the most part. You shouldn't be watching too much. Shouldn't be looking for too many impacts. That is hail. You can see EDR. Ouch. That's lower than tornadoes. Yeah, that's an ouch. Really just across the board here. So, not only does that mean that this thing is producing gargantuan hail, but also means that this thing may be starting to gust. Maybe we're going to see a brief one, though. Maybe a little bit, just kind of as a last hurrah. In terms of staying on, folks, I'm probably going to continue to live stream for another 35 minutes to an hour or so. At least until the top of the hour is what I'm thinking. At least until the top of the hour. In terms of what's going on up here. Ooh, what is that doing? Ow. It's very messy. Although it does look like there may be a little bit of a meso going on with that. New tornado warning.
Tornado warning for northeastern
Extended
Hockley
it.
County in northwestern Texas.
So they're not taking a chance, which I don't blame them. So this is a new tornado warning in effect for Levelland, Opdyke West, and Smyre, south of Roundup. So if you guys are in any of these areas along 114 south and west of the United States Route 84, you need to be taking your proper precautions. Underground or lowest nearmost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet, with no windows, so you can put as many walls between yourself and the tornadic activity is going on as possible. Again, I don't think that there's any real imminent threat of this producing again. But possibly down the stretch, if this can get its structure together. You can see there is a meso there. It is present on this side of the storm, too. So, maybe down the stretch, we'll have the possibility to produce. But at the moment, we're talking about the large hail threat and the possibility of other thunderstorms to produce as well. So I'm just going to kind of bounce around a little bit here. You'll just see all there is to see. Is there anything still going on in southern Texas? Yeah, there is actually, and there is a mesoscale discussion that got issued somewhat recently, about an hour ago. Severe thunderstorms will linger across the deep south. Large hail remains likely with strongest storms along with some wind. So there are a bunch of severe thunderstorms actually starting to overspread. Zepeda and those areas in particular, near Rio Grande City. So we're going to bounce around and just take a look at those as well. Taking a look at this, again, like I said, dim it. You should be getting to some sort of sturdy shelter. A lot of damaging winds are going to start to move into your area, as well as some spotty hail. Lariat, as well as Parmerton, and Friona, as well as Progress and Muleshoe. You should be watching out for some damaging winds and large hail overspreading to your area as well. Second time you've been hit today. check back on chat here. I think the storm is an environment favorable for elevated convection, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, that's what I'm starting to catch on to at this point. We're going to do this. Drop south here. See what we got going on with this batch of storms. One of them does have a damage check considerable tag for large hails, my guess. Directly east of Zepeda in the areas like Guerra and south of Rendado. So that's for tennis ball sized hail and 60 miles per hour wind gusts. So you got some strong storms going on down there as well. It's just widespread thunderstorm activity going on here. Very messy, very elevated. These don't really these don't have the threat of producing tornadoes. These will have mainly the threat of producing large hail, maybe some wind gusts as well. Excuse me. What is going to happen to Lubbock? I'll jump back to that. Whoever said San Antonio, Ils Crespo, nothing going on right there. Nothing going on right now. For the person that did ask about Lubbock, there might be the new mezzo. It's trying to form, possibly. Yeah, maybe not. That's probably not good. It's a lot of inflow, too. So for the person that asked about Lubbock, you need to be watching out in the near term, number one. Number two, you should also be watching, number two, rather, let me say this again. What you should be watching for is all three severe hazards. All three severe hazards. Large hail, damaging winds, and the possibility of a tornado as this heads towards your direction. It may head a little bit north of town, so I definitely could see it impacting areas like Shallow Water, New Deal, areas north of Lubbock. But at the moment, this is going directly east. This is not really wobbling or anything like that. This is just moving directly east. So, folks down in that area, north of Wolforth. Wow, that's weird. And then Lubbock as a whole should be watching out. One thing I do also want to emphasize is that you might get some damaging winds without any rain. There is some outflow associated with this, so you could also get some damaging winds that aren't associated with rain. That's particularly for the southern areas of the storm. So areas like Smyre, maybe Metro, Lubbock, that gets impacted eventually. Might just get some damaging wind gusts out of the blue. Yeah, they're not taking a chance. They're not. Wolforth. Okay. Thank you. That killed me. Always get hit with wind in Lubbock. Yeah, you guys are accustomed to that. Anything for Amarillo? Amarillo might get some. They've already got some storms, so that's one thing. The other thing is that you have some storms approaching your area from the southwest, so maybe the southern areas get impacted, but that's likely going south of your area. Odessa, Laredo, likely not going to be impacted. Likely not going to get much impacts from this. Oh, sorry, I stand corrected. So the Odessa area isn't going to be impacted. But but the Laredo area may be later on. You've got storms surrounding your area and some that are coming from the west. A lot of thunderstorms that were around your area earlier. So Laredo, you got some stuff to the south of you. Nothing significant at this time, though. Most of that is to your south and east. So, my apologies for that. Troy gets canceled for... Well, I could see a severe destructive. Yeah, I would see that. I could see that. Got some really large hail going on with that. Sulphur Springs, Texas, do you expect storms far east? If you're saying far east, then likely not. I will look. Sulphur Springs, not tonight. Sulphur Springs, you're east of Dallas, you're along 30, not tonight. Possibly tomorrow you could see some scattered thunderstorms. I don't have water. You could see some scattered thunderstorms later on, but not tonight. You're not gonna see much tonight. Texas did some things today. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. This is a severe threat for tomorrow in Texas. Texas is a slight risk tomorrow, so let me pull that up here. They do have a slight risk for severe thunderstorms and a 2% tornado risk. So let's bring this up here and drag to the screen. So here's your slight risk tomorrow in effect for the majority of central Texas, southern Oklahoma, as outlined by your yellow here, 2 out of 5 risk. The marginal extends all the way to the east coast along the Carolinas and Georgia, and as far west as central New Mexico. In terms of a tornado threat that we could be expecting tomorrow, there is a 2% chance for tornadoes really widespread across the southern plains and across the Carolinas. We're experiencing the remnants of what could have been Tropical Storm Alex. What could have been. I'm not 100% sure, but I did see some reports saying that there was the possibility that there was a little bit of sustained winds in that range. Damaging winds, 15% chance of those, again, level 2 risk for that majority of central Texas. In terms of large hail, you got that same risk. So the wind risk extends all the way out to the coast. You got no hail risk out further east than the Mississippi-Alabama state line. And some areas that saw severe weather today could also see it tomorrow, so that's also something that we're going to have to note. Out of this. Gapped here again tomorrow. That's an oof. Uh-oh. That's stronger than it once was. That's a B word, too. What? Oh, it may be materializing now. That's really hard to say. You got a little bit of a hooking region now going along 114. People in Smyre probably have a great view of this. Ohio gonna have some of it tomorrow. Not really. La Mesa, Texas. Let me look. La Mesa is closer to areas south of Lubbock. So there you go, down there. So you're not really getting anything right now. Maybe some scattered showers. Maybe a little bit. Looks like there could be some showers moving toward your general direction, but nothing imminent. So the fact that this area isn't representing clear air south of 114, where it looks like there may be clear air, is a little concerning, I'm not going to lie. Watch out for that upper level meso if it becomes surface based. Watch out for it. Big time. Well, that is quite up there. So it's going to be hard for it to translate to the surface in a very short period of time. So that's notable. Welcome, Afro Jumper. Appreciate you coming out here. Hope you are well, among other things. Lubbock may be clipped by it. They may be a little bit more than clipped by it if it expands southward, which it might. If it's going to produce a tornado, it might expand southward. Folks, I apologize if my voice is getting deeper and quieter. I'm getting a little bit more stuffed up, and that's why I kind of reached for water, and I was like, oh crap, I don't have water. So, we did this too. So, we're probably going to live stream through Lubbock getting impacted. Probably going to do that. And then probably head off. Because I am on the East Coast. I live in New Jersey. It is 10:37 where I'm at, and I have school tomorrow. So, hydrate, my guy. And I have to go downstairs and get water and yada yada. It's a lot of work. Any news for Laredo? So I just talked about that. If you drove through some crazy wind and hail an hour ago, you probably got what was this thunderstorm going along Interstate 35 near Ensipal. Saw hailstones upwards of golf ball size there as well. So you probably got the remnants of that storm. Laredo is basically in the clear for now. However, it does look like there may be some thunderstorms developing to their west, moving toward the east. Alright. If any of y'all have any questions, if y'all have any questions, just drop them in chat. Just so I can just try and inform as many people as I can. I do appreciate the support that we're getting on this. It helps get this information out to as many people that need it. So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing that you all have been doing to help me get this information out to people tonight. So thank you so much. Is Morton and Leveland okay now? Leveland is in the clear at this point. Leveland is out of the tornado warning. They can exit any shelter they may have been in. Morton has been in the clear for about 2 hours now. Oh, man. It's... Doy. It's right there, too. That's the thing. Some water next time with you. I thought I had water. That's why I didn't. That's why I was like, meh, about it. If I can determine like a 30-second break where I can run down and get water, I will. But at the moment, I still feel like this is possibly on the cusp of producing. So I'm just kind of waiting on that. Gotta find somewhere to put this. Me being a junior in high school, college mail is taking up a lot of my desk space, and, you know, a lot. Turn more towards Lubbock. Yeah, in the prior time frame, it was going more southeast for a bit, and now it's turned east, and now it's just kind of paralleling State Route 114. Probably gonna go right into Lubbock. And it looks like it's developing southward as well. Developing additional thunderstorms southward. So that's also something to note. Got a lot of hail going on with this still. Wow. Want me to VC so I can talk? Yeah, it may be helpful. Yeah, you send the call, Nate, when you're ready. Folks, I don't like how this is expanding southward. I don't like that. That's one thing that's just kind of a little concerning to me. Discord work. Bruh. There we go. There we go. I don't like how this is expanding southward, which is one thing I will say, folks. So, it does look like there is a little bit of thunderstorm development that's going to the south of this thing, and it's starting to look like the mesocyclone on the southern edge of this may be starting to produce precipitation closer to the Smire areas. So, the mid-level rotation that is occurring with this storm may start to translate a little bit more to the surface soon. If it doesn't, that's probably the last chance for tornadoes this evening. But if it does, we may need to watch out for something tornadic possibly going into the area of Lubbock in the next hour or so. So we're going to have to watch out for that. Looking across the board, I see large hail near Progress and Muleshoe. Let's drop back north. Let's drop back south here, actually, for 1 second. Still got this large hail going on here. New severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Rio Grande City. So that's one thing to bear in mind for damaging wind gusts and some large hail that could progress through your area. 60 miles per hour wind gusts and half dollar sized hail, excuse me. That will be through 10:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time this evening. Dropping back north, we can see that by Progress, we do have a significant thunderstorm that is starting to move through that area. Possibly has hailstones in excess of 2 inches in diameter. So that's one thing to bear in mind, and also some damaging wind gusts that may be going on with that. Maybe a little bit of a mesocyclone as well, but I don't anticipate this producing a tornado really at all. Areas around the Palmerton areas did already get their tornadic activity of the day earlier. So that's one thing to bear in mind. But yeah, watch out for some damaging wind gusts and some large hail throughout those areas this evening. Possibly towards the next hour or so for the Muleshoe area. The severe thunderstorm warning for Dimmitt has been either expired or canceled. Looks like it has indeed been canceled. It's weakened below severe limits. So Dimmitt, guys are expected still to get some showers. Possibly some thunderstorms moving through your area in the short term, but the severe threat for your area has really passed. Let's drop back towards the Lubbock area and see what we got going on with this. It's very difficult to tell, but it is still continuing to develop southward, maybe moving a little bit southeast, so it may lean into the Lubbock area soon. That's one thing to note. So if you guys are in the Lubbock area, continue to be watching this. This is very close. Getting very close to your area. Are you talking, or have you just laid out? I'm just making sure.
I'm just trying to scan Twitter right now. I'm trying not to talk too much because if I move my jaw, my muscle is just gonna start flaring up. But I can talk when necessary.
All right.
On the other hand, two things that I wanted to mention. First off, I was trying to record this myself with Streamlabs because I was going to post this on Twitter. But I've looked at GR Earth and the maximum expected hail size for an hour, right?
Yeah.
And I've set it on the maximum amount of frames and loaded it. These storms, when they were in New Mexico, were originally tracking to kind of the north or the northeast. And then you can see how the hail actually shifted more towards a southeasterly track with not just the cell that's near Morton and Levelland, but the other cells that are in the northern panhandle too. And, you can already tell with how much hail that has been falling with these storms, how colorful the map actually is. So yeah. I'll send you a video here about that in a second.
All right.
Yep. The other thing that I wanted to note here, it's similar what Morgan has been saying this entire time, is that Lubbock needs to be watching very closely. And I don't think people really understand the full potential of what this storm could do. So allow me to kind of explain just a little teeny bit. A tornado warning right now, of course, has been issued for some of these areas near Lubbock, all right, specifically for the Hockley County area, okay? But the thing of it is that might be a bit overshadowing is that the tornado hasn't been on the ground in quite some time. So my anticipation here next is that, well, first off, if they do cancel the tornado warning, they are going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning in its stead. But to what caliber? Well, I think we need to look towards the maximum expected hail size, product to kind of give us an idea as to what the maximum sized hail could be within this storm. And I think you guys can all see on the same screen. That is some very large hail to around and even over 3 inches in diameter. So
probably baseball size widespread is what we're seeing here to the areas northwest of Smyre, northeast of Opdyke West, southwest of Roundup, those areas that don't really have a lot of populace, but still these hailstones are going to cause some significant damage to crops and anything that might be out there towards those areas.
And the big thing here is that, as we know, this is tracking towards the general vicinity of Lubbock. We're not saying that it's heading directly towards Lubbock. I'm just saying that with this storm and how widespread the hail actually is in all sizes and diameter, this could be the storm to watch as this approaches a major metropolitan area here in northern portions of Texas.
I'm going to take a 3D image again, now that it's really getting a little bit better defined. And that's pretty much as clear cut as you can get for a supercell. What I'm also trying to figure out, though, is that's not helpful. NROT's not helping, so that's wonderful. Maybe that's the column. I'm just trying to get an idea of... Oh, that didn't even occur to me. Wait. Okay. 10.3 degrees per kilometer of KDP. So KDP indicates rain and, like, precipitation in general in the storm. Anything higher than about 4, I would say, is pretty significant rain, and anything higher than 5 or 6 could really just decrease visibility entirely. And we have 10. We have 10 degrees here, folks. So that puts in perspective the amount of rain that's just falling inside this area. The structure is definitely holding up in all portions of the atmosphere. My question is... Oh, there's 2 rotations now. There's 3 rotations.
The thing of it is, of what I'm noticing, is I'm starting to see the left flank velocity enhancement start to curl towards the southern side of the storm. Mm-hmm. In the past few scans, 245 and 247, they were just there, but they didn't have any identity. In 249, you can see the transition from, 247 to 249 Z as to how it starts to curl towards the southern side of the storm. So I do believe that...
I pointed it out on the marker on my stream. So what he's representing, or what he's referring to here, these areas of red here that are approaching from the left side and kind of curling around to the south, kind of curling along 114 here, is what he's referring to when it comes to a left flank velocity enhancement. That's probably, if anything, that could be the signs of those mesocyclones in the mid-level starting to transition to the surface, since this is starting to come around in the newest scans. So that's one thing we're going to have to watch for in the short term. With that being said, now this is coming around, I may take my 30 seconds now and just run and get water, so I don't need to do it later. So I'm
And
actually
while you do that, I can stall and actually explain what
Okay.
the left flank velocity enhancement is, because to some people they might just think that's just a made up word in the dictionary. So
yeah. So yeah, you can explain that. I will be back in like a minute tops.
yep, go for it.
Yep.
So a left flank velocity enhancement, chat, is basically an air current or a set of air currents. It's similar to just a bunch of bands of vorticity, more or less, that actually feeds towards the area to where the mesocyclone actually is at, which is the main area of rotation, if you will. And so if we can try and find this stuff on radar, try and find these currents of air that are being streamed towards where the mesocyclone is, which the mesocyclone actually, as I said, is where the rotation is at. If we can find that, then we can determine as to whether or not a storm could potentially be tornadic or not. Now, we can also find these air currents, and we can also determine as to whether or not they're actually feeding in towards the mesocyclone. There's some instances to where these air currents don't actually connect up with the storm at all and end up just being a lot of strong, damaging winds. But in this instance, what I noted about, I'd say, a minute to a minute and a half ago, is now those currents are starting to be channeled a bit more towards the southern side of the storm. And in the northern hemisphere, the southern side of the storm, 9 times out of 10, is typically the area to where you typically see a tornado to form. And that is mainly because if you currently see on your screen, it usually is represented based off of a hooking segment. You can kind of see how at the southern side of the storm, if you trace the outline of the southern side of all aspects of the storm, whether it's in Sminer or north of Sminer, you can kind of make out a bit of a hook shaped within that supercell. Supercell meaning strong thunderstorm. And so basically what a left flank velocity enhancement does is it takes all that rain and that air and it starts to wrap it around into the rear flank downdraft, which is essentially the southern portion of the hook. So it just basically what I'm trying to say here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have identified, I should say, characteristics that tell us that a storm could potentially be trying to produce a tornado here soon. Now, in regards to how strong, how wide, how long it's going to last, we don't know. As tonight, Morgan has had a lot more experience with this here tonight than I have because, as I said, I've been still under the weather. But these storms have been very unpredictable in nature in regards to size, strength, and track. So it's one of those things to where people still need to watch out, all right? There's still a tornado warning at this time for the storm, although it is starting to reach towards the end of its cycle. So who knows if they issue, well, they actually did just issue a new severe thunderstorm warning, and ironically, a regular one.
For quarter-sized hail, which is why I'm saying, okay.
Yeah. But who knows if they issue another tornado warning, or as we just said, they issue a severe thunderstorm warning. So all of this in mind, okay? The main thing here to take away, because I just spewed a bunch of nonsense for people who may not, completely want to try and understand, and they just want the cold, hard facts. Here are the facts for you right now. This storm has had a history of producing tornadoes, and it's moving towards, the general area of Lubbock. We're not saying it's going to head directly towards Lubbock. We're just saying it's heading off into that general vicinity, and that the people over there need to watch out due to the fact of the history of this supercell and what it has done.
I couldn't have put it really any better. What we do need to be watching out for in the near term is definitely the large hail threat and the possibility, like he said, for a possible tornado to reproduce from the southern edge of this cell. Now, the storm has been consistently moving east, which is why we're really highlighting Lubbock as an area that could be impacted in the later stages of this. So possibly in 30, 45 minutes or something like that, you guys could start to get impacted by this storm. Areas like shallow water, New Deal, and then very north areas of Lubbock, like the northern residential areas in Texas, or in Lubbock in particular, excuse me, they could start to see some of the large hail that gets produced by the storm. And I know the warning is only for quarter-sized hail, but we are only looking up about 1,000 feet we've got 75 dBz, which indicates some very high reflectivity values and some very high amounts of precipitation and possibly some 3-inch hail up to, indicated by radar here. So just because radar says we've got 3-inch hail doesn't mean it's obviously producing 3-inch hail, but it does mean that we have some sort of solid matter in the sky, solid ice in the sky that is falling as hail. And I pretty safely say it's larger than quarter size. So.
Hey, Morgan.
Yeah.
Can you do me a solid?
Yeah, possibly.
Can you take a 3D of this storm and go to isosurface and try and channel towards, I don't know, the 50 to 60 dBz volume alpha setting? I just want you to get a real grip as to how large this hail core actually is.
Holy mesocyclone column, though. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah. I mean, that still is something to note, but I just want you to really get a grip as to how large this hail core actually is within this supercell.
Oh, yeah. Just
I mean, it spans up to, what, 25, 30,000 feet?
Almost 30. If you're talking about just barely 60, then just about 30, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that is a very large hail core, and you can even go to the higher values of dBz and still see that it still shows up.
You can get to I can get to just about 70 and it still shows up there. Barely, but it does. That's just the kind of stuff we've been expecting today, this afternoon, folks. There's kind of this stuff that we've been expecting really all day. And it just so happened that one of these cells that also could produce this sized hail produced a wedge tornado. And I can say wedge because it was a wedge.
Yeah, I mean,
It was
a large one.
We just got a quarter-sized hail report out of an area 4 miles west of shallow water. So my thing about that is that area just started to get the impacts of it, and they're already getting quarter-sized hail. So I wonder what the actual core of the storm has. That's one thing to bear in mind. Oh.
China. That's probably one of the craziest videos I think I've seen of the tornado today.
Which one?
The one from Colby Morton. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Have you seen that yet, or?
I might have.
Let me send it to you.
Just send it along, just in case. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can share it or not. It doesn't look like.
Oh, that one I've seen. Yeah.
It looks like It looks like you can.
Because I'm not gonna, just out of respect for him.
Yeah.
But that's unbelievable. It's retweeted on my Twitter. And funny enough, I have notifications on for your Twitter, Nate.
It's
so I just
11 o'clock, my dudes.
It is 11 o'clock, my dudes. I didn't even hear it.
I heard it.
Now I understand how you're feeling when it's just you're going on with this and you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah. Tornado warning has expired. It is now a severe thunderstorm warning.
So that is the good news as of right now. So there are no more tornado warnings in... what is that?
You know what, Morgan? You want another thing that I have observed here from this?
What?
This storm, over a series of... what is this? I'd say an hour to an hour and 15 minutes has done, or at least conducted, a series of left splits.
Several.
You can play... and this thing just continues to shed itself more and more and more as it continues to move about. Because you can see all the left splits. They sustain for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then they disintegrate.
One thing that may also kill this off in the near term are the showers and thunderstorms that are developing to the south and west of it and rapidly moving towards the area of Lubbock. So,
oh yeah, it is. It is.
That stuff south of 114 and west of 385 may start to interact with this stuff, kill it off.
And you know what? The vorticity is the reason behind those specific thunderstorms. At least the ones to the south. The ones to the north, I believe, are from outflow boundaries. But the ones that are just north of plains, those are from the vorticity. Speaking of vorticity, it's starting to run out of 3 Cape and vorticity in general, which may be the reason why this thing is doing what it is right now.
Yeah. I mean, I saw it. Could my meso analysis work, please?
ML Cape is starting to run out too.
The answer is no.
Unironically, if you still take a look at the violent tornado parameter, it still shows a 4.
ML Cape is running out.
And there still is a decent area for significant tornado. That doesn't make any sense. Why?
Lapse rates are also getting crappier now, too.
Oh, I think I know why. Yeah, I think I know why. I think I know why the environment behind the supercell is still capable. You know, if there was a supercell that didn't grow upscale, I think I know why that environment is still there. But I doubt that anything happens with any of those storms.
Nothing's going to be organized enough, I don't think, at this time.
It'll probably just grow upscale, if anything.
What have I been doing? Why haven't I been using that? That's actually probably much better than trying to use Amarillo down there. Cannon Air Force Base. Crap. Yeah, it is much better. Holy crap.
Storm is starting to lose a lot of vorticity. It's losing a lot of ground, actually. Only thing with it now is the high lapse rates and decent cape, allowing it to produce large hail.
Surface-based, goodness. Low-level lapse rates are also not the best at this point in time.
Just got 2 new reports of quarter-sized hail. Alright, I'm going to take that video right now and show...
Still got reflectivity upwards of 70 dBZs, though. So, still probably a lot of rain going on with this. And your KDP values are still upwards of 10 in some spots. So...
Yeah, give me a second as I'm gonna make the little video bit right now for Twitter so that I can kind of get a perspective, or at least show you guys a perspective of what these storms have done, which, in my honest opinion, is really close. I mean, this is beyond cool. My honest opinion.
Severe
So I'll just show
thunderstorm
you
warning has
guys.
been updated. Continues for 60 miles per hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail and a tornado possible. And that is through the top of the hour, through midnight. Folks, I don't know if I'm gonna be. I don't know if I'm gonna be streaming until midnight. I have something to do in an hour, so I need to step away for a second and do work at some point. It's probably gonna be very quick though, so I can maybe get away with it now. In fact,
Yeah, I could always cover stuff like that. So if you need me to, I can.
just open it and see what I'm dealing with.
Oh, come on.
So yeah,
Really?
folks in chat, if you have any questions, do not hesitate. But at the moment, this does seem to be starting to die down. Wow, that was way more difficult than I thought. This does seem to be starting to die down, which is the good news. And it may be turning northeast, so it may miss Lubbock entirely, which would be a good news as well. That's kind of interesting.
This is a heck of a storm.
You think Thursday will get a severe risk issued? I haven't looked far ahead in the week, actually. I'm going to be totally honest with you, my friend.
There is a possibility that Wednesday through Friday probably will get a severe risk. For how strong, I mean, I think the highest, and I mean the absolute highest you can get is an enhanced risk, but I see more of a marginal to slight event more for not just one day, but all 3 days.
What? It's great. Oh wow, the mid-level mesocyclone died. Great. So, yeah,
There goes
folks.
vorticity.
Folks. Any last hoorah that the cell would have had, I don't think is gonna really. I don't think. And hail size is starting to diminish on a more widespread basis, which is also good news. So the cell may be on its way out. I will say that cell's up by progress in Muleshoe is ridiculous. Holy crap. That's a lot of hail. Ouch. May not be the largest hail I've ever seen, but probably a lot of it falling near the Muleshoe area. If you guys reside in Muleshoe or around in really any direction, I would advise getting into some sort of structure. There's a lot of damaging winds and possibly a lot of hail that's going to be moving through. Maybe not the largest hail, but a lot of it. Pretty ridiculous. This is turning northeast. Yeah, it's bounded Echo region at about 10,000 feet has collapsed. So, that's probably it. Which is good.
It looks even crazier on radar whenever I play it through. Yeah, it is turning a bit northeast, maybe a little. But I think that also could be because of the anvil precip.
Sorry, chat, I'm just trying to take care of this stuff for a minute here. Because I'm particularly... How do I word this? I'm in smart people classes, so I can't afford to have things late. That's the easiest way for me to put it.
So basically, let's just say his teacher has no margin for error and they need
Which
to just
my
get it
English
done.
teacher doesn't. So...
I'm almost done with the video here, so I'll be able to send it to you in a second.
Okay.
Um, but this definitely has to be one of the craziest things I probably have seen in a while in regards to motion of thunderstorms. And that says a lot. It really does says a lot. Or say a lot, I should say. Jeez.
Wow, I have a lot of things open right now. Checking Twitter again. All right. Fold Morgan J. Indeed, Jeremy Cheever Jr.
Export media. Export. Boom.
You use Adobe, right?
Video. Uh-huh.
So, folks, I think the storm is collapsing once and for all. I'm going to be totally honest. Just looking at the newest scans. I think it's just about done. Looks like it's about to downburst. Is Lubbock at risk? They're in a severe warning, but the storm might mess them to the north entirely. So, not really is what I will say on that. A nice merger into the forward flank downdraft. Yeah, I mean, What radar is this? If you're talking about the application, I'm using GR2 Analyst. If you're talking about what radar I'm using KLBB, Lubbock. Good night, Mystic. Take care. Thank you for coming out. Can't speak. Tornado sirens going off in Lubbock. There shouldn't be. This floats now south of shallow water line east. Yeah. Because areas south of shallow water are about to get impacted fairly heavily. Oh. If I didn't already say it, which I'm pretty sure I did, but I'll say it again. If you're in shallow water, you should be continuing to watch out for the impacts that you could get from the storm on a fairly widespread basis. Oracle wind profile at 0307 is still favorable. I wouldn't count it out. It's still going healthy from the looks of it. Imagine having final exams tomorrow. Mine are in June. Because New Jersey. I mean... That's weird. The storm. So the vertical wind profile does support it turning northeast. It also supports the fact that there should actually be a rotation on the southern edge of this transient. There. Ish. It's not there. So, if we're talking about, like, photograph-wise, it'd be approximately that, right? Yeah. About. Velocities. There's your low-level meso. It's not low-level meso, gosh. There's your upper-level meso. It's just not there. So, it's not translating to the surface. So the photograph has it on point, and the storm is acting the way it should be. It's just not surface-based. NATOcast has a 10 in Houston tomorrow. Okay. Hello, Norbert on Beans. Good to see you. Hashtag El Bozo NATO gas still sucks. I'm not going to argue with you, but it's still very funny to look at occasionally. Put out the 10% for the MCV in the Northeast on Friday. That was great.
About to post.
What?
I said about to post. I'm adding you in the thing.
Okay. So I think once this thing passes, latitude-wise, passes Lubbock, we will end the stream here. So I can get off and do whatever work I have to do.
It is done. You can look at your ats. I kind of did anticipate that for tomorrow a little bit. I could potentially stream. The funnel? What? Not on my screen. Someone said in chat there's a funnel on the ground south of Lubbock, but I doubt. I don't see
a funnel on the
anything.
ground. It's not a funnel. You can get that out of the way.
Oh, that's true.
But
But
NeoCast had a 90% contour for wind and hail past 3 slight risks. I don't see the wind and hail ones. I should have the website bookmarked just so I can go into it. I need to find said website too.
yeah, I added you, so if you want, you can show it. But I mean, it's just one of the craziest tracks I've seen from storms all year. It's a Mach S.5.
Indeed. What was I gonna look at? That.
Why is it not? That's oh my gosh, that's not legit. I just posted the link to the Twitter post that I had in a Discord server, and it translated everything into Arabic.
How does that work?
I don't know.
Real significant wins at Smire, Anton, or Reese Center Mesonet sites. That's not surprising. Considering the storm was on a weakening trend, that's good news. Good stuff here.
Yeah, I
Tornado warning, Lubbock, Texas. Not on my screen.
there's definitely not a tornado warning in Lubbock, Texas. Sounds like a personal problem, Ice Wiz.
I was gonna say that. Beat you to it, Ender. Cope. Beat you to it, Cope. So yeah, the storm is very clustered, heading off towards shallow water and New Deal. So I would expect some in the region of, I'd say, nickel-sized to quarter-sized hail to fall over those areas, and then as you get towards New Deal, expect maybe a little bit smaller.
Oh, this person tried to do a weather live stream, and then he really decided, you know what? I'm not getting any viewers, so I'm gonna go to every single stream and spam it. So that's nice.
Who?
The guy that timed
Oh.
out.
Nice. Check DMs.
Oh, don't worry, I'm watching. Don't worry, I'm watching. But if it makes you feel any better, if it makes you feel any better, Morgan, you are the only one that I've seen it happen to so far, which means that you're probably the highest viewed person out of all, which
Good
does
times.
seem to be relatively consistent. Actually, I think it's been consistent throughout the entire time. So,
So like I said, folks, I just try and get the information out, but I do appreciate the support that I've been getting. Thank you so much. I am trying to reach monetization eventually, because YouTube sucks. So, we're trying to hit that point. It's going to take some time, but I hope to get it before I go away this summer and can't stream for a month. So, that's where I'm at.
I was about to say, can we talk about the fact that Morgan is over 1,200 subscribers?
Good
It's
stuff.
actually at 1,230. Something like that.
Good stuff.
Good stuff for Morgan. NATO Cast definitely likes the funny tomorrow, especially for the new models.
Is the new models out?
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
It purposefully puts a 10% chance over Shreveport first off. And then it's the smallest 10% I've seen it do. So that's nice. Second off, there's a random 5 over. Well, I mean, it's not really random because of the surface low,
Hatteras.
but yeah, that's fun. And third off, there is a
That's-
random 0.1% chance for tornadoes in Ontario. Otherwise,
What?
it seems pretty legit.
Okay. That's good.
All right, someone else has been hit now.
Huh?
Someone else
Yeah.
has been hit by the ice whiz.
Mostly done. I got a 3-hour nap earlier. Eventually. It'll be soon. Oh my gosh. This is Nate Snyder and Morgan. Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
No, I'm not here.
You're halfway, kind of.
I'm definitely not even here.
NATO cast likes hail probs tomorrow. That's all I'm gonna say.
A ghost can't be here.
Yeah, NATO cast really likes hail probs tomorrow. Good times.
That's hilarious. Just whenever you have time, it can be after the stream, but I want you to check DMs because that's kind of funny.
I saw that. I was mentioned.
Yeah. That was great.
That's
That was actually,
amazing.
yeah.
They issued a new severe thunderstorm watch for Muleshoe, eastern New Mexico, southern Texas Pan. Ten to 30, 10, 30, 20. Okay.
Mean. I'm very mean.
What?
Not nice. I am not a nice person.
Let's go my favorite kind of watch. Yeah, the watch that has no probs. Gotta love it.
Are you really?
What?
What?
What are you?
Why?
The severe watch?
I didn't. Yeah.
10 to 30, 10, 30, 20.
Is mayonnaise an instrument? It really did get issued. Why?
Because of the stuff that's developing to the west. I don't know. They're basically saying
10 to
if it
30.
Yeah. So I saw someone in chat asking about Muleshoe. There isn't really rotation. It's not an unfavorable environment for tornadic development, and it's not organized. So I don't see it producing tornadoes, but there could be some significant damaging wind gusts with it. And there is a 67 mile per hour wind gust report out of Muleshoe, so that's something to take note of, especially as you push off towards the north and east. This stuff could continue to get stronger when it comes to that. Is Houston
What?
gonna be wiped
What?
off the map tomorrow? I can say no to that. I can say no to that fairly confidently.
He's doing it on a pet simulator live stream now.
What?
The Ice Whiz guy.
How are you finding this?
He's got a live stream of him doing it.
So he has no life.
Well, I mean, neither do we if we're doing this, but then again,
That's
you
true.
know.
At least we're helping people, though, ish, I can hope.
I would like to think that we are. There is a tour possible tag, isn't there? Oh boy. Now I sound like Johnny Depp's lawyers. Yep, there is a tour possible tag for Lubbock. That's nice. I am definitely leading in a court case. That's kind of funny.
You want to know what just occurred to me, Nate? About that Ice Whiz guy? So he's doing that on other streams.
Right.
The fact that he found mine means that we're getting the information out to more and more people on YouTube. So, appreciate everybody's support in getting us out to that person. Very helpful in that. So
Flawless
thanks much.
logic. Flawless logic.
Thanks much.
Oh boy.
Severe warning has been updated and Lubbock has been removed from it entirely. 60 miles per hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail to the top of the hour. Well, almost entirely. The very northern portion of town may still be in it, but, you know.
This guy is chugging. His computer is going at 2 frames per second. No joke.
Sounds like the quality of my streams before I got my new laptop.
Oh. Oh. I wonder if he's going to do it. I think he sees it.
It downdrafted. That's it. It has no more hail. It all downdrafted. Probably ended in 10 minutes. I think that's what we'll do, folks. We'll end it in 10 minutes.
Yeah, someone else has already dropped out, not the person who you're thinking, though.
Not the person who I'm thinking.
No, it's another person. What is he? Oh, hey Morgan, can I ask you to consider the following real quickly?
You could
All
always
right, I
ask
know
me to consider the following.
Southern Texas magic, other known as Del Rio magic, is occurring if you go to Brownsville radar.
That I also saw. I was like, okay.
I'll go take a look at it right now.
Oh, what?
I'm kind of surprised that's not a...
Excuse me.
Kind of surprised that's not a damage threat destructive severe thunderstorm warning, but
It's
you
got
know what?
83 TBZs. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's no magic. That's just dead. If you live north of Edinburgh, I would say along U-281 near Fayetteville, Redgate, and Lynn.
No way you just said that.
What do you mean no way I just said that? U-281?
No. Someone else. I'm listening to a bunch of different feeds.
Oh.
That's definitely not rotation, by the way, chat.
Yeah,
definitely.
that's all contamination.
Not only is it contamination, it's also bowing out. So that's another thing to note. So if someone else is saying that there is rotation within this storm, first off, it's not in a very good environment to do it. As a matter of fact, you know, just for perspective. Yes, I already know who you're going to talk about. Yes.
Is that is he saying that?
Yeah. Anyways,
F.
the one thing that I want to mention within this environment is I'm looking at obviously the same thing that I always look at, and that's Cape and Vort. Uh, there's very low amounts of 3 Cape, very low amounts of vorticity. So I doubt it. I really do doubt it.
Anything that falls in the path of this is oofed.
Oh
Quite
yeah.
literally.
I mean, the one thing that I gotta say is that this storm is heading off towards U.S. Highway 281. If you know anyone who lives in those areas, like Lynn and Redgate, as well as Fayetteville, anywhere within that area that I just called out for in southern Texas, there's a storm, okay, that is not only producing some strong, damaging winds, okay, but it's also producing very, very large hail to the point to where if you are outside, you will be injured. If you have any pets outside, they will be injured. If you have any cars outside, their windows or windshields will be damaged and or destroyed, as well as significant amounts of dents could potentially be possible on your car. If you have any valuables outside, they probably will be damaged and or destroyed. Siding to the sides of your houses will probably have holes in them. So that's kind of the perspective that we're trying to give you right now. This storm, all right, doesn't need to produce a tornado in order for it to do damage. As a matter of fact, I just learned an interesting statistic today, and I thought about it more, and I was like, well, why didn't I figure this out earlier? Okay? The most common reports of damage are not from tornadoes. They're from winds and hail. All right? It's actually almost equally distributed between the two as the top, in the top spot. So if you know anyone who lives over in those areas, okay, you really need to watch out. You really need to watch out. That's just plain and simple.
So like I said, this is approaching some residences. And particularly as it gets closer towards Brownsville, it's not going to impact Brownsville directly, at least the strongest part of this, I don't think. And I am still going to head off in 5 minutes for the sake of I have work to do and I need sleep. But the areas of Edinburgh, Doolittle, Fayetteville, Redgate, and Lynn, as well as maybe Mission, Alton, and McAllen, really need to be watching out for this in the next 15-30 minutes as this heads down towards your area. If you know anyone around there, you need to inform them that this could be heading towards their area and could be doing some significant damage.
Jeez.
And I'm surprised it's only warned for tennis ball sized hail, I'm not going to lie.
Well, if it was only a half inch, actually, no. Scratch that, a quarter of an inch larger, it would be
destructive. It'd be baseballs.
And that's kind of the same thing that, I keep referring to in regards to the scale. If it's that close, it might as well be it. Just treat it as such.
Got updated, continues for tennis ball sized hail and 70 miles per hour wind gusts, so.
You know what?
segment
You know
and
what
a
I want to do?
half.
You know what I want to do? I am going to take a 3D of this, and I'm going to start using isosurface and volume alpha.
No, I am not doing that. I refuse to do that.
I want to see
I'm
the
not
chaos.
doing that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is hilariously huge. It narrows down to 80 dBz and it goes up to 20,000 feet. That's stupid.
Do you dare me to do it?
Yeah, why not? It's hilariously huge. It's hilariously huge.
Totally overshooting tops for one.
I know, but just go to ISO service and consider the following. You also can tell what type of storm this is if you look at it a little bit more. It definitely is not a, a tornadic supercell at this time. Definitely is not.
It's literally bowing.
Yeah, it's literally bowing on all levels. You can tell. But it's just, you can see how large the hail amounts are for specific values of DBZ. And for people who are wondering, all right, what are these colors? What are these fancy colors? Okay. Let's put it into perspective. The green is light rain. The yellow and orange is moderate rain. The red is heavy rain. The pink is hail. The purple is, heavy amounts of hail. And anything in the light blue is stupid amounts of hail to the point to where it should be snowing.
To the point of life-threatening.
Yeah, life-threatening. Like, it should be, if you can imagine sleet falling down from the sky, and how frequent sleet is, that's basically the same thing there.
La Reforma tornado sirens going off. It's probably because of this. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
This is life-threatening in of itself, like we just said.
Very much so. Huh? What? Really? Really? Morgan? Just went toward possible.
This?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not.
Really?
It's in a
Really?
0. No, it's in a 2. I begged. How is this a 2?
You know what? I don't know. I'm gonna
Ouch.
new MCD for this thing. I want to read it. Hold up.
Strong thunderstorms will propagate across deep South Texas over the next few hours. Large hail and damaging winds are possible. Several slow-moving thunderstorm clusters have developed into a forward-propagating MCS over the lower valley in the last hour, while zero-Z soundings from Corpus Christi and Brownsville exhibited some inhibition. Strength of the ongoing and expanding precipitation shield suggests momentum will likely continue, especially given the gusty low-level storm and flow to the lowest few kilometers. Additionally, very large hail is currently noted over eastern Starr County, but this should gradually decrease in size as it moves southeast. It's becoming increasingly likely that this MCS will propagate over the South Texas coast early this morning. They don't mention a tornado once.
Real quickly, all right, because I want to.
Folks, we'll go off in a short period of time here. Just gonna...
It's elevated. It's elevated to all get out. I just took a look at the observed sounding in Cabro, and the wind shear basically was pretty consistent. Well, I'm looking at Sharpie, so it's going to be hard to pass.
Print screen. Or shift Windows S.
That's true.
Let's drop back north for the heck of it, and that is not living. Gonna be completely and totally honest with you.
Files, save as. Boom.
All right, folks, we have streamed
Oh.
for 3 hours this afternoon. I do appreciate the support that we got, and I do think that the information that we got out to the people at least helps some
There we go.
people across the board. So that's my
Terrible
hope
screenshot.
for this afternoon.
Terrible screenshot.
That is a
You get
terrible
the point.
screenshot. That is elevated.
It's very elevated.
More than very.
It's also capped towards the 1 to 3 kilometer region.
Yeah,
Bunker's
so-
right is also a casual 5 knots.
Bunker's right is a casual 5 knots, and the storm slinky is directly south. So, I'd love to know how that would have a shot.
The 3 cape is also 3.
It is literally 3. All right, folks. With this being said, I think we're going to get out of here. I do hope that I was able to at least help someone this afternoon with whatever was going on. This was a crazy day. Crazy afternoon. That was 2% that wedge tornado developed in, and rest is history. Now we were here. Lubbock is safe, Jeremiah. Lubbock is getting passed to the north by a severe thunderstorm that's barely still severe. So, this all being said, I'm going to call it a night. I do appreciate all the support that I got on this. Hopefully closer to monetization at this point, and I'm going to continue to stream in the near term as I get closer to the end of my school year, closer to the summer for me, because I want to hopefully get that done before I go away over the summer. Will California get an earthquake tomorrow? They get earthquakes every day. Of what magnitude? Then that's a different question. But, you know. So, like I said, I do appreciate all the support that I had on this. Do appreciate all the help that I got from people like Nate, people in the chat, from my mods, from people sending me stuff on Twitter. You all did bits today, and I do thank you very much for that. So with this all being said, we're going to call it a night here. Thank you so much for tuning into this severe weather coverage live stream. If you guys did enjoy this and want to see more about it, and did actually think it was helpful for you, please leave a like rating down below. Really do appreciate the support, and helps me get this information out to more people in the future as well. Click the subscribe button if you guys are new around here, and click the notification bell if you guys want to be notified every time I go live or post a new video, which is not very frequent, but I do it sometimes. And that's probably going to do it for me. My name is Morgan J. Fold. Nate Snyder was in the background for the last little bit, helping me out. Kind of dying over there, but, you know. But, yeah, that's going to do it from us. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.